On this episode of Geek Dad Life, we're going to review Hasbro's new Ghostbusters Plasma series, Egon Spengler. Hey everybody, and welcome to Geek Dad Life. It's your host, Jay Gladfelter here, and we are reviewing the entire first wave of Hasbro's Ghostbusters Plasma series figures. I am posting up all of these reviews at once so you can watch them in any order that you want to, but if you want to do them in the order in which I reviewed them, you can just do it in the order you see here. I did it as they set up, so I did Peter Venkman first, then Ray Stantz. Now I'm on Egon Spengler, who is number 3 on this set of 6 figures. Egon is the first of this set that isn't double packed, so Peter and Ray are double packed in the shipper box of 8 figures. Egon is solo, so this might be one of the harder figures to find once it does hit retail, and I think that is definitely going to be the case, because I feel like just looking at it in the box, it looks fantastic. It's a great likeness of Harold Ramos. Rest in peace, Harold Ramos. Maybe it's the front leg. Maybe I've been reading this wrong. Oh, maybe Venkman comes with... I don't know. It's kind of confusing on who it is and who comes with what. But anyway, he comes with his Vince Clortho leg. Without any further ado, let's open this guy up and see what's inside. Again, this is a completely separate bubble and tray to the box, so that completely comes out. And once you have the kind of the back cardboard tray out, which again I love, the kind of the red and black blueprints of the gear and the Ecto 1 on there. That's awesome. Also, wouldn't it be awesome if we got a Black Series Ecto 1? I would, Hasbro, Pulse, whatever they're calling it, back that build. Anyway, so there he is, trapped in the bubble. Again, something I'm loving about these figures is there's not any of that annoying little like clear rubber bands holding the figure in. It's held in by this bubble, which is great. So let's just pop him out. He needs a second to acclimate before he can stand. Let's see, get the Proton Pack out of here. Vince Clortho leg. And then his Pke Meter. Alright, now that we got the Egon out of the package, let's take a closer look at him. So something that we discovered when we went from Peter to Ray is the torso, at least for Ray, was unique. I'm curious to see if it is unique to Peter. It looks very similar, so they might share middle sculpts. I'm going to let Eagle Eyes maybe try and tell the difference, but to me, I can't right off the bat, aside from their name tags. And then they do have the different legs, but they do look very similar to Ray's. They're pretty much identical between the two. But yeah, let's look at this Harold Ramos head sculpt. It is fantastic. I think them going with the sculpted on glasses works. The Matty Collector version of the Egon Spengler, which is like the first figure they released as a Comic-Con exclusive, I believe in 2010, I think. It had like separate glasses, which was okay, but something got lost in the representation, and I think the way they sculpted the glasses here, I think, works really well, and this head sculpt is just fantastic. Egon looks great. Really like what they did here with the Egon head sculpt. The Ghostbusters patch, perfect. darn near perfect, unlike my Venkman, but again, that's all right. So there you go. His Proton Pack, the Cyclotron Light, is in the upper left, where Ray's is in the bottom left, and then Peter's is in the top right. I think we know where that leaves Winston's, but we'll see when we get there. Other than that, the Proton Pack is identical to the other ones. I will say we had some trouble putting on the Proton Pack on the Ray since he had the bigger torso. Which again, I applaud them having unique sculpt, but it was a bummer that it's not really holding on very well. I'm going to keep trying to see if I can get that thing to stick. But I assume it's going to be easier on the Egon, so let's see how that goes. Oop, I almost forgot. Same articulation as all the others. Ball jointed head. Ball joints at the shoulders. As well as swivel cuts. Which gives it a lot of range of motion, which is great. Double jointed elbows. Ball jointed wrists. Kind of a ball joint at the stomach, so it's not a cut there. It's not an ab crunch cut, but I think it works really well for getting some range of motion there. He is unlike Ray, so he doesn't have anything attached to his belt, so nothing that can connect there. Even though like a little thing to hold his Pke Meter, which I guess is a little bit of a bummer if I wanted a want here for the Egon Spengler. You have your hip joint. You have a cut right there below the hip. You have the double jointed knee, and then you have the rolling ankle, as well as joint back and forth. All the joints here have been really tight so far. No loose joints, which is great, but they are also very tight. So it's been a process, kind of getting them loose and limber enough to kind of move and pose. So going to put this on right here. So you put it over the shoulder. You have that peg in the back. Very reminiscent of the old Kenner figures, which you know I love. And I can already tell this one is much easier to get on. This is actually the easiest out of all of them so far. I'll give Venkman a bit of a learning curve because it's my first time doing him. But yeah, super easy, which is great. The Pke Meter has a little nub right there, so he can actually hold it, even though it's set in this like active position. So that's a little weird. So, you know, if it's hanging on his belt, it's not going to be completely accurate. And that, let me focus back on Egon here. That the two little wings there are open, but still a neat feature. So Venkman's the only one that doesn't have, and I'm double checking to make sure. Anyway, so you can put his Pke Meter right there on his belt, which is cool. But, you know, I'm gonna pose him not with his holding the Neutrino wand of his Proton Pack. I'm going to have him hold his Pke Meter, because when I think of Egon, that's how I think of him. So in terms of scale of the Pke Meter, it seems it's a smidge small to me. And it could just be something about scaling down on the figure. But yeah, Egon just looks great. Really captured the Harold Ramis likeness really well. So yeah, packaging, again, love it. I think the sculpt works really well here. No issues with the Proton Pack connecting because he had the slimmer torso, so that worked really well. No paint issues on this Egon figure to be seen. There's not a lot of paint apps to begin with, so it's easier to kind of pass that score, so to speak. But the sculpt looks great. Again, these photorealistic print scan technology that they're using on the kind of premium Hasbro figures has lended itself to these Plasma series figures that just all... So, I mean, if you're just looking at them here, they just all look really, really great. And yeah, really, really digging these figures so far. All right, well, we are halfway through, and that'll do it for this episode of Geek Dad Life. If you like what we do here on the channel, hit like, hit subscribe, and click on that bell icon to be notified when the latest episode of Geek Dad Life drops. Check out all the other Plasma series figures reviews. I am doing every single one. This is the third of 6 figures. You can watch it in any order you want to, but if you want it chronologically, I am doing it in order of the box. So we have Venkman, Ray, Egon, then I'm going to do Winston next, then Dana Barrett, and then Gozer. But you can watch them in any order you want. And I have to also do the Build-A-Figure Vince Clortho. So 7 total once we get all these pieces out of the box. So definitely check all of those things out. Again, want to thank Up in the Attic Toys for giving me access to these figures early and being able to review them here on this channel. We'll see you on those other videos. Until then, hasta luego and goodbye.